Hello, internet. Me here trying to record this for the third time because technology keeps breaking on me. Technology is not on my side today, so hopefully this has worked because I'm just not doing it again. But yeah. Well, now I'm coming out in a week, so I thought I'd do a little talk through of about 2 weeks, sometime in the future. 1st of May album, be real good. So I do a little deconstruction talk through of some of the songs, talk about recording them, some of the cool things we did when we were recording, and yeah, we'll just see what happens. So I thought a good one to start with would be Trauma Can Teach. Trauma was the first song I mixed on the album. It's got a good blend of the raw bandy sort of elements we wanted and the modern production-y vocal things we wanted. My main want and vision for this album was to have really old school sounding, I love 90s and 2000 records as my favorite sounding things, and I wanted it to sound like that, instrument wise. So the drums aren't really edited, well, pretty much not edited at all. Bass and guitars aren't edited, they're just as they were, sound like a real band. And then we have I wanted the vocals to be very produced and very nice and sheeny, and same with production. So that's what, and this song sort of got a good mix of both. It's got a real band vibe to it, but with this modern sort of vocal and production. So that'll be a good one to have a look at. And also this was the first song that we ever played with Josh. So we asked Josh to learn these songs 3 weeks before tracking them. So we asked him to join the band, and if he could help. Well, we asked him first if he could help out just track this album, and we're like, "Can you learn these 11 songs in 3 weeks?" And he did, and he fucking smashed it. He did an insane job. But before we tracked the album, we went down to see him in Birmingham and have a little practice with some of the songs and see what it sounded like. And this was the first thing we ever played with him. And right out of the gates, he came out with this drum groove, and the drums completely made this song, and they sound great. And he's absolutely smashed it. And I'll play some of them drums for you now. Sound really good, and that's with no edits. That's just Josh ripping. What do we use? I think we used a natal. I don't know what model thing it is, but it was a brown natal kit, 22-inch kick. Yeah, and I think we used this natal brass snare as well. I think there's one song we used the Vinnie Paul on, but I think this song was definitely the natal. And yeah, sounds really nice. We've not got a big drum room here. In an ideal world, it would be nice to track drums in a really big, nice drum room, but due to a myriad of factors, that was not doable. So we track drums here. But they sound good. They sort of suit the vibe. It's not over the top, but the drums, I wanted the drums and the guitars to sort of sound on the edge, like they were about to be too much, or just about to just descend into chaos. And I think the drums do sound like that, especially the snare. The snare is just we put the snares going through, it's getting crushed on the distortion on the way in, and then it's going through a BVE sonic maximizer, and I'm just boosting the highs on it, and it's not like an EQ. I don't know how to describe it, but it does something to the high end, and it just makes it very exciting. And yeah, I really like it. Really like the snare on this one. Almost sounds too much. We're tracking it. I was cranking the input gain of my I've got a Neve clone, and I was just cranking the input gain to get all that saturation, and you can just hear that saturation on the snare, and it's almost too much, but I think it's just about enough. But yeah, they're the drums. Josh Murphy, real good job. Not really much else to say about them. Just, yeah, good drums. Bass next. Well, what can I say about the bass? It was just literally the tightest bass I've ever heard in my life. I literally don't know how you can get any tighter. It's absolutely just mind blowing how good it is. Just incredible. I have no other words for it. Just an absolute talent. Tracked it with a P bass. Sounds like this. Sounds really good. Really like the sound of the bass. It sounds sounds dirty but not like crazy. It's not too much. Like my favorite bass sounds are like this band called Porcupine Tree, and they've got this song on one of their albums, but I can't remember what the song is called. But it's on the album Blackest Eyes, and I don't know. There's something about it. It just sounds fucking great, and I've just wanted basically a distorted version of that, and I tried my best to get it. But yeah, it sounds really good. I'm really happy with the bass. I recently did an Instagram post where I sort of explained what I did for the bass. Go have a look at that if you wanna really nerd out. But basically, we just had two different amps. We had a guitar and a bass amp, and while we were tracking and I was like bouncing the stuff down, I was basically riding the guitar amp up and down throughout the song. So like choruses and riffs and stuff like that, I'd boost the guitar amp and the distortion would get louder, and then verses I'd bring it down. And I don't like options. I don't like options, like especially when I'm mixing. I just want one track and that is it. That is the sound. I don't want multiple mics, and that's a running theme throughout this, you know. I feel like if I had options, I'd just get nothing done. So this bass I just summed down to a single mono file, and I think it was something like 4 or 5 different channels, and I just blended it, got it sounded like, and then just committed to it. Same with the guitars, and like a lot of the production and the lead guitar effects and stuff, I just, you know, I don't know if it's because I'm lazy or I just don't want to have to deal with that in mixing. I just want it to, that is the sounds, that is what you're going to deal with. But that's about it for bass, you know. It's a bass guitar. Let's listen to some bass and drums. Very nice. Right, guitars. So, for the main rhythm guitars, we used a 5150 into 2 different cabs. We used it into a Marshall 1960 cab, which had, I think it had greenbacks in. I could be wrong, but I felt like it. I feel like I'm pretty sure it's got greenbacks in. And then into a THD cab, which has vintage 30s in. But this THD cab, if I remember, I'll put up a picture, but in front of each speaker cone, there's like a strip of wood with a little circle rightly in front of the speaker cone. So if you wanted to mic it up, like just offset the speaker cone like I usually would, like half the mic would be in front of this wooden panel, and it's very weird, but it sounded good. You know, I mess around with a few different, like if I want it in the side but I found out that having it half in front of the wood and half in front of the speaker, I don't know, it wasn't super abrasive. And that's where the Marshall was. The Marshall cab was really high mids and very high endy and sort of too abrasive, but it didn't have any balls. Whereas the THD cab would have a lot of low mids and a lot of balls, but it didn't have that high end detail. Whereas the two together combined with a lot of phasing and trying to get in right sounded great, and they worked really well. And I think I had a 57 and a 41 on each cab. And yeah, they sound like this. Again, they sound like they're about to be too much, and a large part of that is this ADM. My brain. Isolation is melting my brain. This ADM EQ I've got, and it's basically taken out of a broadcast console. So it's not like a pretty EQ, it's a functional EQ. And when you boost stuff on it, you notice you boosting stuff. It's not like, it's very aggressive, but that's what I wanted. I didn't want a nice, pretty high end to my guitars. I wanted them to be just too much, and I felt like these guitars I was really happy with them. We used the Jim Root Jazzmaster with EMGs. Everyone hates on EMGs, and I don't know why, because probably 60% of your favorite albums all have EMGs on them, and they sound great. I'm not knocking any of the new stuff. Like, they also sound great, but EMGs sound great. They have a certain sound, and for this, they were perfect, and that's what I wanted. But we did some cool stuff with the rhythm guitars. So in a lot of the songs, we did a lot of octave stuff to sort of complement riffs and bigger sections. And in this one, we had a Strat doing Strat on the neck pickup, going through a Digitech whammy, and I think it would have been going into the Kemper. All the dub stuff was going into the Kemper. And it sounds like this. I'll take all the effects off first. Sounds really cool, but if I play that with these two guitars, it sort of gets lost. It's not really doing anything for me, that. It's just taking up more low end, which there's already loads of. I don't need that. So I dirtied it up a bit. I added some grit, and I pushed it a bit further out to the sides. So it's sort of like, in my brain, I felt like the guitars were sitting here, like right in your ears, and then these were just sitting a bit above them. And so I sort of dirtied it up so it fit more and fill out a certain space in the EQ spectrum that I wanted, and that's what this sounds like. Sounds dirty. Yeah, I really like that. We did that loads on the album. Loads of, again, it's not like super loud, but it's there, just thickening up sections. Other room guitars. The verse guitars. These verse guitars sound really cool. So they're made up of about, I want to say like 8 to 12 different guitars. So we used like Tellys, we used Strats, we used humbucker guitars like EMG low guitars. Some guitars had drop tunes. Some guitars were using Cocteaus, just to build this wall of not very distorted guitars. We tried doing it with just a normal, with a normal rhythm tone, but it was just too much. It wasn't contrasting from the chorus and the main sound enough. So instead of just trying to get one sound of loads of distortion, we used like loads of different unique sounds to build up this sort of cool part, and I'll play it with everything else. I'll take the production and vocals off and some lead, so you can hear it's just with the bass and drums. Sounds really cool. Yeah, and that's about it for guitars. Sound good, don't they? Lead. We used a Kemper. Oh my god. We used a Kemper. Oh no. Kemper sound good. Real amps sound good. So we're using both. Yeah. Not much, like, again, there's not a whole amount of lead on this song. There's just like more atmospheric than melody driven. So here's some of the atmospheric sort of leady bits. basically just octave of itself. Ooh, I think that sounds like it's another just a stack that I made of loads of guitars. I think it sounds like it's got some drop tune stuff in there. Yeah, cool stuff. Same, there's that spread out throughout the song on the drop. And then we have this real nice lead at the end that Matty is very good at writing lead guitar. And it's always dead nice and pretty guitar. And this is this. Oosh, there you go. Sounds good. And yeah, that was just the Kemper with, I think it was just with the Jazzmaster. Matty likes the neck pickup a lot, so it was probably on a neck pickup. Right, I think that's pretty much guitars done. Let's have a listen. Oh, forgot about that. I think that's just yeah, that's been messed around with. Yeah, I think it's just a copy of this but with some effects on. Cool. Sounds good. Let's move on to some production. This is where, so at the moment it sounds like a band. Sounds cool. And this is where it's not super obvious, this production stuff. A lot of it's very subtle. But what I really like doing is I like putting drums on drums. And what I mean by that is say you got the real kit doing something and then you've got an electronic kit on an electronic loop or something over the top of it doing not necessarily a counter melody, a counter like syncopation. Sometimes it can be, but a lot of the times it's just say the drums are doing like a quarter note thing, the electronic drums or the loop would be doing like 16th to 8th notes on tops, and it sort of acts as I'm trying to think how to explain this. It sort of acts in my head, it acts as like a fourth limb for the drummer. So if you think the kick and snare, and then you've got them riding on a ride or a crash for the whole song. Say they're doing quarter notes, eighth notes on the crash. Whatever the electronic drums is going to be like above that. So it'd be like a shaker or like one of these loops, which is doing it again on top, and it's just adding an extra bit of momentum to the song. I'm not sure if that made sense, but I'll just play it and you'll get it. Some more of that in this song. Yeah, it's not too drum heavy on this song, but on a lot of other songs I've done, it is very drum heavy. I guess it's sort of a different way of, like how a lot of people will put a shaker in the chorus. It's like a different version of that, I guess. Just an extra different rhythm in there. So that's all about. Got some sub drops, because it wouldn't be a metal album with some sub drops, would it? An impact. Oh, impact. Explosion. Yeah, there you go. And a keg, because didn't riff that off anyone. Yeah, tracked our own keg. I made my own keg sample. If you want my keg sample, hit me up and I'll sell it to you for loads of money. No, you can have it for free. Because I'm such a nice person. Yeah, keg. Sounds cool. And then you just got usual bits and bobs, don't you? It's not exciting at all, that kind of thing, but it's needed, isn't it? Some synth. Let's talk about some synths. Had a bunch of synths on this song. Again, just it's nothing crazy. It's just following the guitar chords with some extra stuff in it. Nothing too fancy. Just building textures and building a certain sound. It's yeah, nothing too exciting. Same sort of thing going on in the verse with this piano. Just things that are enforcing the theme that's already there, I guess. And just spice things up, making it sound a bit more interesting, I guess. Like, none of these things are super obvious or necessarily like vital to the song, but it all adds up and creates this sound that, I don't know, I'm talking gibberish. My brain is so melty today. I've already talked about this before, and I said, this is my third time I'm trying to shoot this, so whatever. I hope it just works. Yeah, that's it for production stuff. Nothing too crazy. I'll just play some bits. Let's talk about vocals. Hello, Roy, the vocalist of the band. Yeah, vocals. That's what most people care about, isn't it? Yeah, we did. So this album was produced by me and Philip Strand, who is a beautiful Swedish man, an incredibly talented man with who saved my brain a lot. I think if he hadn't done this album with him, I would have completely lost my mind. So he helped out a load on the vocals, especially the clean vocals. We tracked a load with him, and Roy did really good. Well done, Roy, because Roy was never a vocalist. Roy was originally a guitar player in this band, and turns out he could sing. So we made him do it. I think, well, Matty made him do it. And here we are now, as Roy is full-time frontman. And he's done a good job. This was the first time he's really done such intense tracking, and I think we did like 3 weeks on vocals, like 3 weeks solid. We did this album for 5 weeks, 6 weeks, no days off, apart from for one day where Josh's cymbal broke and we had to get a new one. But we did like 12, 13-hour days. It was hard work. And we did the vocals first. Did the vocals in the first few weeks, and I really did good. Smashed them out. Here's some vocals. Let's do the chorus first.
If you can follow me underneath, you don't bring stillness and silence will speak. Diffuse a wisdom to air the weak parade.
Ooh, delay throws. I love delay throws, and I definitely use them too much, but I ain't gonna stop, so whatever. So yeah, these vocals, they're very, very produced. They're very modern and, you know, I don't really know, produced sounding. Which is what we wanted. We were going for that. So you got these harmonies.
Stillness and silence will speak. You done with stillness and silence will speak.
And actually, I heavily tuned those like harmonies. Like, not that Roy was singing them out of tune, but I wanted to have that auto tune sound with my harmonies. So I ran them through an auto tuner, and then I ran them. Not for every song, but particularly for the unison ones in this song, I ran them through a vocoder to make them sound even more like synthy and robotic, and sound cool. Sound how I wanted them to sound. I like it.
If you can follow me underneath, you remember stillness and silence will speak. Diffuse your wisdom.
Very, very good. It's cool melodies. Yeah, good job, Roy. Well done. Verse. This is a man screaming into a microphone.
You can't hold your backs against the cold brick wall. Red up, it's a mask who you really are. You can't hold your backs against the cold brick wall. Red doesn't settle, it's a mask who you really are. Now I don't mind it at all.
So yeah, man screams into microphone. We used, for all the vocals, we used 7B. I think we did. Yeah, I think we used 7B for all the vocals into a distressor, into my Neve clone, which is, I think we had a bit, I think I was boosting a bit of like 10, 12K. I was putting a bit of, really nice sheen on it. Yeah, so I think that was what we used for vocals, and then compressed them even more in here using the 76. Yeah, sound good. Doubles, and then left and right doubles when I wanted certain sections to be accentuated.
You can't hold your back against the cold brick wall. Red doesn't settle, it's a mask who you really are. Now I don't mind it at all. Well, lately there's an instant.
Oh, another delay throw coming up. I'm such a basic bitch when it comes to these, like.
The scratch attention has been not in the car. Denial.
I really like them. Yeah, and then lastly we got this choir section, which is there's a story there, and should I tell it? Okay, I'm gonna tell it, but I'm not gonna drop any names. So we wanted a choir for this part of the song, a big old choir. Let's play it with nothing. Epic, innit? Epic. So we wanted an epic choir section, and we got a choir, sent them the song, sent them the music to learn, and they sent us a little like update video, and the choir were fine, the choir were good, but it was the choir master or the choir lead, I don't know what, the conductor, the man in charge of the choir, he was just so out of key to everyone else. And it wasn't good. So, and we had very, very little time, so we just decided to scrap that and we just did it ourselves. So we used the original demo one that we did with Phil in pre-pro, and that is just Phil and Roy doing a bit of singing.
We had our eyes busted open, we're expected to fall.
And then me, Matty, who are fantastic singers, I might add, like voices of angels, especially Louis. If you want someone to sing you to bed, hi Louis, and that's this.
We had our hearts busted open, we're expected to fall.
And if you can hear the really low voice, that's Matty, because Matty is Big Barry and only sings low. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think we've covered everything. Oh, I forgot to say. So this is just my mix. Pretty much nothing going on my tuba. So got a very, very small amount of compression. Pretty much doing nothing. And then I've got an EQ doing some filtering and pushing a bit of 7K. And then a bit of gain. Adding, reducing some gain there, George. Well, yeah, I would have done that for a reason. Because I didn't master this. Mastering sucks. I hate mastering. I am not a master engineer. So the lovely Alan Douche has mastered this at West Side Music. And it sounds great. And he really did a much better job than I ever would. So yeah, that's it. Probably do some more of these. Hope you like it. And stay safe.